Hi, Quantitative Reasoning. Welcome to 1-3, Units, Rates, Proportions, and some applications. All right, so the first thing that we have is a ratio. A ratio is a comparison of two quantities. So we might write this as A to B. We might write it as A to B, and we might write it like that with the colon in between it. A proportion is a statement that says two ratios are equal to each other. So that would be the same thing as saying like 1/2 equals 5/10. So there's definitely an equal sign, and we have a fraction on each side of it. A rate. A quotient of a ratio where the quantities have different units. All right, so think of a car. My car, well, it's hybrid, so it's kind of awesome. And it gets 40 miles per gallon. And so that would be the same thing as 40 miles divided by 1 gallon of gas. All right, so let's do some ratio problems now. It says, a bag is filled with red and blue marbles. There are 54 and 1/3 are blue. Find the ratio of blue to total marbles. All right, sounds like we're gonna have to figure out how many blue there are first. Okay, so we have, this is my total, and here are the ones that are blue. And if we have 1/3 of 54 is blue, of means multiply. So the first thing that we have to find are the number of blue. And if we take 54 times 1/3, that is 18 blue. The objective was to find a ratio of blue to total. So when you write a ratio, I find it helpful to label it. Blue to total. So there are 18 blue and a total of 54 marbles. You could reduce that. Again, that reduces down to 1/3. Find the ratio of red to blue marbles. All right, so you have to now find the number of red. If we have 54 total and 18 are blue, if you take 54 minus 18, that leaves you with 36, which are red. Find the ratio of red to blue. All right, so there are 36 red and there are 18 blue. So you can write that as 36 over 18. If you could reduce that, that would be the same thing as 2 over 1. If you wanted to write it, you could write it as 2:1. The ratio of men to women is 60 to 25. Express this as a fraction in lowest terms. So I have 60 divided by 25, and that ends in a 0, that ends in a 5. So I'm going to divide by 5 to try to reduce it, and I get 12 over 5. So that would be the ratio of women to men as well, just in fully reduced. Proportion. So you know a ratio, and you're going to apply this to another scenario. You're making cookies, and it calls for 1 cup of sugar and 3 cups of flour. All right, so here's your known. You want to make a larger batch and use 9 cups of flour. How much sugar will you need? All right, so I like to label these. So I have a ratio of sugar to flour. So in my known, I have 1 cup of sugar to 3 cups of flour. In my larger, I want to use 9 cups of flour. So that is my denominator. How much sugar will you need? That is my mystery amount, so that will be my variable. Generally, when you have fraction equals fraction, you are going to cross multiply. So I'm going to take that numerator times that denominator, and the other numerator times the other denominator. 1 times 9 is 9, 3 times x is 3x, and now I'm going to do algebra, divide both sides by 3, and 3 equals x. I know that many of us could have done that with mental math. However, it's good to know a formula, a process for when they get more challenging. Solve the following proportion. So I have fraction equals fraction, so I'm going to cross multiply. So I'm going to take 63 times 5 and set that equal to 7x. 63 times 5 is 315. I'm going to divide both sides by 7 and get 45 equals x. Here I have fraction equals fraction. I'm going to cross multiply. Let's see, you have 2 terms in the denominator, so you're going to have to be a little careful here. So I'm going to go 20 times x, which is just 20x, equals 30 times x minus 10. So when you have 2 terms in any place, make sure you put that in parentheses, because you're going to have to distribute to clear parentheses. 20x equals 30x minus 300. I'm going to get my letters on one side, so I'm going to subtract 30x over. Negative 10x equals negative 300. I'm going to divide both sides by negative 10 and get x equals 30. All right, let's keep going. If it takes 3 hours to drive 200 miles, how long will it take to drive 500 miles? All right, so here is our known ratio, and we're going to set this up as hours to miles. This is really just me labeling it. So I can go 3 hours for 200 miles. How long will it take? So that's a time, that's my mystery, to go 500 miles. I have fraction equals fraction, so I'm going to cross multiply. 200 times x is 200x. 3 times 500 equals 1500. I'm going to divide both sides by 200, and x equals 7.5 hours. Property tax on house with an assessed value of $480,000 is $5,760. All right, so I have 2 things here. I have the value of the house, and I have the taxes that I pay on that. It really doesn't matter if you would put the taxes on top and the value on bottom. So I'm just doing this to organize myself, because all of the values need to be in the numerator and all of the taxes need to be in the denominator. All right, so here's my known portion. On a $480,000 house, the taxes are $5,760. Determine the property tax. Okay, so that's my unknown, with an assessed value of $600,000. Fraction equals fraction, so I'm going to cross multiply. So I have 480,000x. In my calculator, I took 3,760 times 600,000, and I got this big number, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's the number I got. Hundreds, thousands, millions, billions. What'd I forget? Oh, there's my variable x right there. I'm going to solve for x, so I'm going to divide both sides by 480,000. And my calculator says that it is 7,200. And that will be my taxes that you pay on a $600,000 house. All right, so the rate describes how a quantity changes. So we would like to find the unit rate. A unit rate is a price per unit. It might be per ounce. It might be per gallon. So whatever it is, we want to find the price per unit. And here, your denominator is always 1. I see a train travels 120 miles in 3 hours. So I'm going to write that as a ratio. Find how far it travels in 1 hour. So here, all you have to do is divide. Took 120 divided by 3. And it will go 40 miles per every 1 hour. So that's the same thing as 40 miles per hour. So to find a unit rate, generally just need to divide. All right, so we have some toothpaste, and we would like to figure out which brand costs more. Jell-O is $1.28 for 6 ounces. We would like to, so in order to compare these, it would be helpful to, if they had the same unit of measure. Because here we're comparing a 6-ounce tube to a 4.6-ounce tube, and it's hard to know which one is the better deal. So that's what a unit rate is for, is to figure out what the better deal is. So I have $1.28 per 6 ounces. And the Glow White is $1.99 per 4.6 ounces. So I went 1.28 divided by 6. And I got 0.213. And this is per 1 ounce. Here I took $1.99 divided by 4.6, and I got 0.432 per 1 ounce. All right, so what we're saying, so when we talk money, the Jell-O is about 21 cents per ounce, and the Glow White is 43 cents per ounce. And so it says, which brand costs more per ounce? Glow White. How much more? So to find out how much more, we're just going to subtract. So we have 43 cents minus 21 cents equals 22 cents per ounce more. Oh, not even on the screen. My bad, sorry. We have per capita, we have national debt, and I think I'm going to do that live and in person. But per capita basically means per person. The population density is the number of people per square area of land. We're going to go ahead and we're going to skip that for now, and we're going to continue to the back. All right, so we have what we call a CPI, or a consumer price index. Consumer price index measures the average change over time in prices. So it's kind of like how some people calculate inflation. They go to this CPI chart. So this says, if you're comparing, they basically compared like the same basket of goods. So in 1980, this basket of goods cost like $82.40. And in 1989, the same basket of goods costs $124. In 2010, the same basket of goods, I'm off the chart, thank you. In 2010, the same basket of goods cost $218. And in 2019, the same basket of goods cost $246. So if you're buying the same basket of goods, what cost you in 1980 of $82.40, now a few years ago is up to $246. This says, how much higher were prices in 2017 than 1997? All right, so I'm going to color code this. I have my 2017 prices, and I want to compare that to my 1997 prices. There we go. So that's what I'm focused in on. So the top one is the year, and then the bottom one is the amount that I'm going to be using. So if we want to know how much higher prices were, I'm going to compare the CPI, the Consumer Price Index, from 2017 to the Consumer Price Index of 1997. So in 2017, it was 245.1, and in 1997, it was 160.5. So when you go top divided by bottom, you have 1.53 over 1. So 1.53, if you think of this as a decimal, that's the same thing as saying 153%. And so basically prices are 53% higher. How much would a typical item cost that cost $100 in 2002 cost in 2017? All right, so we're going to use the CPI as one of our measures. And to keep myself organized, so I have 2002 numbers on top, and I'm going to have 2017 numbers all here on the bottom. And here in the first one, I'm going to put the CPI, and then I'm going to set that equal, and over here is what things are going to cost. So in 2002,
Classic, please pardon this interruption. He thought he could keep it on the download, but today is Zach Shiniak's birthday.
all right. So in 2002, the CPI is 179.9. And in 2017, it's 245.1. So when I'm trying to figure out these costs and how much it is, I'm going to keep going back, and I'm going to use the CPI as one of my fractions here. It was $100 in 2002. I want to know how much it is. So once you have fraction equals fraction, we're going to cross multiply. So I have 179.9x equals, that moves it 2 to the right, 245.10. And I'm going to divide both sides by 179.9. And I apparently cannot find my work, so bear with me as I run this in my calculator. 245.1 times 100 equals that, divided by 179.9. 136.242. And we are talking money here. And so when I round this, it costs about $136.24. It says in order to keep up with your inflation, if your salary was $30,000 in 2007, how much would you need to make in 2017? All right, so now I'm comparing 2007 numbers to 2017 numbers. My 2007 CPI is 207.3. My 2017 CPI amount is 245.1. So this is your CPI, and then what we set it equal to is going to be your salary. So your salary is $30,000 here. In 2017, I don't know. That's what we're trying to figure out. I have fraction equals fraction. I'm going to cross multiply. So 207.3x. 30,000 times 245.1 is a big number. 7353000. I'm going to divide both sides by 207.3. This one I did do in my calculator earlier, and it is $35,470. So if you made $30,000 in 2007, that would be the exact same thing as making $35,470 in 2017. All right, let's talk about tuition now. Tuition and fees was $4,098. What is its equivalent in 1997? All right, so we are comparing 1998 monies and 2017 monies. So once again, I'm going to use the CPI as one of my ratios, and tuition is the other. When I look up at the chart in 98, it is 163. 2017 is the same thing, 245.1. 98 tuition is $4,000. 2017 tuition is my unknown. Fraction equals fraction. I'm going to cross multiply. So I have 163x equals 980,400. I'm going to divide both sides by 163. And x equals $6,014.72. And we'll do the rest in class together. Thanks.